Ready? Aim!
There's too many!
Anyone see my mammoth?
Stubby!
Evening everyone. It's a Monday. We're back. Didn't have an episode last week. I was too busy with some other stuff. But yeah, we're back this week. And there's quite a bit of news to go through, as well as a few congratulations and things like that for events over the weekend. But yeah, hope everyone's having a good time. I know I am. Dion says the intros always get me. The intro is old. I need to update the intro. I've had it for far too long. It needs an update. So yeah, it'll need a. I'll have to think of something new. Probably when the new round about when the new patch drops. I'll have to spend some time and make a new one. Good. Evening, Ilya from Tabletop Warden and Kellen as well. Hope everything in the US is going all right, Kellen. As well as obviously Data and guys in chat there as well. All right then. What we're going to do this week? Well, we're going to talk about the new box this week, obviously. If you haven't seen or heard of the new box, Neutral Hero Box 3, then we will be going through all of the components. And people can draw conclusions. We also have Darkstar Retinue that have also been revealed. Now, Darkstar's Retinue were revealed a while ago. So that's not particularly new, but the High Hermitage Sentinel, which is the attachment for the Darkstar Retinue, is new. That I think actually is like it might be one of the more kind of important releases coming out for Martell, I think. But obviously Neutral Heroes Box 3 has got a lot of talking about it because there's a lot of things in it. Evening Ross and Rossi. From Germany as well. Ross still over there. Kurt straight in with analysis before we even started the episode. Probably start. Anyway, it's been a week. We saw German nationals run over the weekend, and I'm going to start off by just quickly not going through the full stats of the event or anything like that, but a congratulations to NSB Nicholas who won with Targaryens. Obviously, congratulations for winning. Congratulations doing it, Targ. That's two players we have now seen perform well with Targaryen at national level events. NSB pulling out the win in this case, which is brilliant. Love to see it. And NS, one of the patrons here at Stats, and we've known Nicholas for some time now. Yeah, absolutely lovely guy. And he just turned up and played, didn't expect to win, and won away with 7 wins as well. Like, didn't even need 7 wins to win this event. You could have won this event with 6 wins because of the way the number of players were. But yeah, NS just going 7 for 7. Yeah, can't do better than that. So yeah, well done there. And also a shout out to Ross, who did obviously make it over to Germany to play. He's staying with Rossi. He went over to play in the German nationals. Unfortunately, he couldn't play all his games, but did end up making it over there to play as well. They're the only 2 international travellers that played in German nationals, and of the 2 international travellers, one of them won it. So what can we say? Carlo was kind of joking in the patron chat on NRG Stats. That one of the hardest things to do at the moment in this game, it would appear, is to actually win your own nation's nationals. Nationals, once they get over like 40-50 players, and you have an international contingent coming along, doesn't really matter how big, the chance of you winning as a native drops quite significantly. If we just look at the 5 biggest events this year, which all have been over 50, that's Poland, that's German, that's French, that's UK, GT, and the US. I haven't counted Spanish this year because Spanish hasn't really had any big landmark national event by name. they've had lots of GTs and things like that, and a couple of like amalgamative events, which I think you have to qualify for. But there hasn't been like one big GT event, I think, that they would call nationals. They've obviously got uh, some of the crown events and things like that they've had in Valencia and Barcelona. So they have had big events, but it's hard to place one above the other in terms of how they are. But yeah, if we look at actual national level events, 5 events won, and the only one to be won by a national of that country is Garlo winning LGT. Every other single event was won by a visitor, which is crazy. Tom says we had a great event yesterday in the UK, hoping to get you to the next one. Yeah, Tom, I'm disappointed I couldn't make Leeds. Well, a couple of my friends, a couple of the UK players that I know, like so Chris F&M and things were there. A couple of the DMG guys, a couple of friends from outside of the game as well actually attend because they live nearby Leeds. And one of them walked away with, because the prize support was insane at Leeds, one of them walked away with like Greyjoy starter, Greyjoy Hero Box 1, and I think like one extra box as well. So he's going to be like, he's only played Martells more recently, but he's now going to be playing Greyjoys, which he's absolutely stoked by. So yeah, I will try and make it to Leeds. Unfortunately, I was unable to go yesterday. Dion, yeah. All nationals, not all nationals being held, because some nationals weren't won by visitors, especially when there wasn't a contingent of travelling player, obviously. But yeah, a lot of the nationals this year have been won by travelling players. Crone's tricking me back. Thank you, Crone. Good old Brandon. All right, yes. Yeah, so congratulations again, Nicholas. Obviously, really well done. And yeah, it's time to move on, isn't it? Let's have a little look at Neutral Hero Box 3. In other news, in case you don't know, NSB champ. Yes, Mikkel. In case you don't know, the A Song of Ice and Fire CMON, well, the CMON website has had some issues. I don't know if it's a consistent issue with the whole website. But you can see here, like, there's just things not working properly, not loading properly, and you can't see it because I've got the way that the thing's cut. But you actually get an error when on their website saying that they're experiencing instability with the servers. So that has meant that many people can't access the documents page. This is quite a common thing to happen. Now, I didn't think that many people went on this page, but it's enough. So, yeah, if you do need links to the actual documents and things like that, people do have them and they are available. Just ask, because people have the links saved to things like the rule book, to things like the FAQs and things like that. Also, a lot of people seem to want to print out cards this week randomly. I don't know why this week of all weeks. A lot of people, I guess German nationals coming up, among other things, but I noticed a lot of people wanting to print out cards. They're all available on the Facebook group. If you do need to print cards off, nearly all of the updated printer-friendly documents are on Facebook. Again, if anyone needs them, just message someone and they can go get them. Check out the stream games from German nationals. Yeah, so Ilya says check out the stream games from German nationals. Put a love into those. Thanks all the guys. Yeah, in case you didn't know, they are obviously, I will add, in German. And that's not to take away from what they did. They did a fantastic job. I was tuning in and watching a lot of the stream over the weekend. So if you have never done this, jump over to Tabletop Warden. Give them a subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to them already, subscribe to them, but also subscribe to Stats. Yeah, do that. But if you go onto their live, you'll see all 7 rounds have had one game streamed on them as well. One of them's in 2 halves, whatever reason. Stream had problems. But yeah, do fully recommend, check it out. Some of the games are really good, including the final game. Not necessarily the final, but it basically was the final. NSB versus Esport was streamed, which was an interesting game to watch. But then a real selection of different games from across the event were streamed. So yeah, really good. Really recommend giving it a watch. I know that we ended up having a bit of a watch party for the last game, cheering NSB on, but also commenting on the game. Yeah, stuff. Tom says when we started the event yesterday, the War Council updated or said it was installing. Took 30 seconds, but it didn't add Neutral Hero Box 3. Do we know what that was about? No. I am guessing, and he whips out his phone at this point, and this is how good this content is. I am sat here talking to you guys while on my mobile phone. Such high quality stream. No, I am guessing, Tom, that it was a bug fix because they do randomly do bug fixes on there sometimes. It's either that or they've updated it with some other stuff. Yeah, that's probably what I would guess. But I don't know. I'll have a little look if there's anything. But yeah, we are going to talk about Eurobox 3. Jesus, what I'm giving myself is neurological issues. Great. We're going to talk about Neutral Heroes Box 3. We're going to go through in part. We'll finish with the commander. We will start with a few of the other things, and we'll work through the box. It's if you haven't seen it yet, you're going to be in for a wild ride. But most people probably have seen it, so we'll just dive in. All right. I want to apologize in advance. Some of these pictures might not work in the way I want them to, so just bear that in. Right. So let this. It doesn't. Interesting. I like that. Oh, no. We are not getting anything on there. Alright, okay. Well, we'll do it this way then. So, we'll go through and I'll open them up. The quality of these images I will note. Not the best, okay? We'll do this. So, we'll go through one each at a time. I do have the backs of all of these, or have had the backs of all of these cards confirmed. So, although you won't necessarily see the costs and things like that, I do have them, and I do know that those are the right costs. Okay. And yes, to answer your question, Tom, it was a small bug fix update. All right. Okay. So, Shay, NCU coming in at 4 points, finding the best patron. Shay begins the game with 3 order tokens. Each time she claims a zone, after resolving that zone's effect, you remove an order token from her. At the end of each round, if she has no order tokens on her, you destroy her. So she basically has 3 uses, and I used quote marks there because, well, we'll find out in a second. Each time she claims a zone, before resolving the zone effect, you choose one. Restore 1 wound to a friendly unit, 1 enemy unit becomes weakened, or Shay gains 2 order tokens. So think of it like this. You buy an NCU for 4 points who has 3 uses. But every time you use her and place her on the board, that is a use. If you pass with Shay, it does not classify as a use. Right? Now, that's important. That is important. We'll get to that in a second. If you pass with her, you do not use an order token. If you take a zone, once you have resolved the zone's effect, you would remove a token. Okay? Importantly, Shay is before resolving the zone effect. You choose one of these effects. So you can choose to resolve, like normally when we talk about like choosing NCU order, you choose when an NCU claims a zone to resolve the NCU or the zone first. Now, actually, what's very interesting is that Shay resolves always immediately before resolving the zone. You don't actually have a choice of order here. She isn't when claiming. She is all about zone resolve. So, restore 1 wound, fine. Spend it once per round, or your 1 NCU take a zone, you heal 1. Yeah, like that is very similar for people who don't know to what Shira Errol does when she takes the crowns. Shira Errol does a variety of different things on bags, letters, and crowns. The crowns effect is you heal 1. Marjorie, NCU for Baratheon, heals 1 when you take a zone. Miriam Azdur heals 1 when you take a zone, plus some other stuff. Like, there are healing 1 for free when you take a zone is not uber common across every faction, but it is kind of like a I'm going to say it's relatively common. It's not something we've not seen. 1 enemy becomes weakened. Well, we saw that with Pycelle. In case you can't remember who Pycelle is, he's a 4-point NCU from Lannister. Hashtag never played. But Pycelle, obviously, for a long time, gave out weakened tokens. He, way back in 1.6 was 3 points. Got upgraded to 4 points, didn't change. Putting out weakened tokens, fine. And then gaining 2 order tokens, so you can use Shay more often. Carlo is right with his comment in chat. If you haven't seen it, this ability is pointlessly complicated, which I agree with. I think they made it so that she was like, basically this NCU isn't better than the likes of a Shira or a Marjorie or a Pycelle, right? Not necessarily better than these things. And the way they've made it not as good, I think, not as good, is by making it more complicated with this order thing, right? This orders thing, I get it. Like, I get what they're trying to do, as in, like, this shouldn't. You're gonna waste a turn putting a token out or healing a wound or whatever it is that you want to do because you'll have to take more orders back if you want to keep using Shay. But it is completely pointlessly confusing and like irrelevant, I think, most of the time. Because most of the time, if you're taking Shay in non-neutrals, first of all, why aren't you taking Varys? And second of all, why aren't you taking Peter Baelish? These are things you want to take first most of the time. Then, like, every faction has better NCUs than this that you're going to want to take for 4 points. Like, you take Pycelle over this most of the time. You are taking, like, Marjorie Shira over this most of the time in Baratheon, right? These are just some examples. You're going to take Aemon over this nearly every time in Night's Watch. And Aemon's not even a particularly good Night's Watch NCU at the moment, which is kind of crazy. But, like, Shay's just not a top pick for most factions. So really, like, really, I only see Shay being picked up in neutrals. And I actually think, you know what? I don't think she's too bad in neutrals. More token control, a bit of extra healing. Great. I actually think Shay in neutrals is a completely fine 4-point NCU pick. But either way, you get 3 order tokens. You either are going to take the first zone on round 1. You're going to take a zone with Shay and gain 2 more order tokens, and then it's fine. Like, you'll just have Shay for the rest of the game. Fine. Or you just won't do that with Shay, and you'll use her as a pass. Bearing in mind, if she doesn't go to the board, she doesn't use a token. So you get her for another round, and you also didn't use a token that round. So you actually get her for, like, it kind of doubles down a little bit. Yeah. Like, I get it. I get why they've done it. But it also just seems like a pointless change. Like I just don't. Not a pointless change, but like a pointless addition. It's it just adds complication to something that I don't even think is needed. if this was just restore 1 wound and 1 enemy unit becomes weakened, and then it was like, you could make it so that, I don't know, something that mattered. This token thing might be the way to do it, but even just like, I don't know. Maybe this is the best way of doing what they want to do. Maybe it is. But like, I just feel like they don't need to do it. Like, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not actually complaining. I don't. I think the power level of Shay she's actually fine. She's not strong. People in chat like saying Pycelle's little sister. She's a bit of a dud compared to other options. Yeah, most factions don't want. It's rules. Evil says it's rules for the sake of rules. Yes. You're going to pick Shay in neutrals because you have Roos at 4, you have Baelish at 4, and now you've got Varys at 4. You are 100% going to pick out Shay at 4 in some variants of the lists because Roos's panic token in neutrals is probably a little bit less valuable than a weakened token, perhaps. There you go. But I can't see Shay being picked up in Lannister. I can't see Shay being particularly picked up in Baratheon. I can't see Shay particularly being picked up in Night's Watch. I can't really see Shay being picked up in Martell. Shay can't be picked up in Boltons. Shay is probably not going to see play in Stark. She probably isn't going to see play in... Who's even left? Targ? I mean, she might see play in Targ, right? Because putting out a weakened token at range might be useful for Targ to slow down Lance cavalry a little bit. Yeah. Biscuits also reminds me that we have Jaqen at 4. Yeah, but you're right. Jaqen does exist. Yeah. Oh well, there's Shay. She's fine. Like, she's overly complicated, and they've just written like a whole 2 paragraphs of extra words on here that weren't needed. She's fine. She's fine. If Rose Knights was still a thing, the thing is, Rose Knights are a thing. Rose Knights are a thing, Chris. Like, but you run Marge over Shay every time because the vulnerable is just really good with Rose Knights because they have no other way of pushing through damage. And you get the heal 1 anyway. From Marge, you might be maybe take a Shira for token control anyway. Like, I'm not saying Shira's even a top tier pick. You're probably taking Varys, Elena, Varys, Elena, Courtney probably. Like, Shay's behind Marjorie, and Marjorie's not picked. So like, meh. Not convinced. But there we go. 4-point Shay. I do think she'll see play neutrals. Personally, I think it's really handy to get some extra weakened tokens out. Makes you a little bit less reliable on adaptive methods, which was obviously a hugely powerful card in neutrals prior to the buff. It's now like off the scales, insanely useful at token control and token manipulation. Shay will see play in neutrals. All right. Shay in Greyjoys against Cavalry. Maybe Power Slave. What an interesting name. Power Slave 18. Maybe Shay in neutral in Greyjoy against Cavalry, against Lance Cav in particular. I think, to be brutally honest, I think she's a tech piece beyond tech pieces. Like, I just think that you're teching so hard at that point that you've probably lost something somewhere with a Greyjoy, because you're taking Balon, probably still taking either Roderick or Wendy, and you probably want to take Varys. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard. I don't see it. Anyway, Shira, 4 points, NCU. She'll see play. She's not defining the game. She's just bog standard 4-point NCU. So, next up, we have Sandor Clegane, and I have got a bit of a treat for everyone with Sandor Clegane. Sandor Clegane comes in at a 1-point attachment with Threaten. Great. Cool. Brilliant. Now, the reason I'm not saying anything more about that, the reason that I'm not saying any more about Sandor Clegane really, is that I feel that 1 point threaten on Sandor is very boring. um, Other factions have access to this already. Like, yeah, I I think this is incredibly boring design, and I'm not complaining that the design is bad. It's just it's Sandor Clegane. It should be like, I'm not saying unique, but it should be something interesting and fun and something that we want to play. I don't know, something just cool. But threaten for 1 point is just like meh. Like, you'll take it if it's good. Like, this is the thing. It's not even a bad ability, right? I'm not even complaining that this is bad. Threaten for 1 point is like fine. It's just that this isn't unique design. It's not Sandor Clegane. What, just, just generic bloke A. Yeah, just an iconic character with such a bog standard order. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna happen eventually. It was gonna happen sometime, but disservice to a bit of disservice to Sandor Clegane, in my opinion. Just the ability just seems a bit off theme, a bit off track. So, with that in mind, right, Sandor Clegane, I haven't got a better copy of the card, by the way, and people are pointing in chat, it is an old copy of Threaten, which it is. It's Threaten with the old ruling of when the unit activates. More on that later, but what we can probably assume is we can probably assume with a good level of certainty that this box will receive an early FAQ. Now, for reference, I do actually have, it's a bit of a sideways copy of the card, so bear that in mind. A sideways copy of the card here does indeed have it with Threaten as when this unit activates. That's the old wording of Threaten. I would fully expect that to be updated. As soon as the box is released, and actually when you see it on War Council, it will be the new version. Able to Orton, he's the goddamn hound. Why is it so uninspired compared to his other version? Yep. Sandor the Scarecrow. They gave Shay all the flavour and the hound gets the bones. Yeah. Something about extra damage on Vicious. Yeah, potentially. There's loads of different rules we could have given him. But yeah, as Abisky says, he's just a spear captain. Many other things have threatened as well. All right then. With that being said, let's cheer ourselves up with some hound loveliness. Now, this is not the new hound sculpt, obviously, but I got sent a lovely picture, a few pictures through, from Stats favourite, Chris F&M. This is his hound that he's painted up, including Chicken on the base. And yeah, let's have a look at that close up of that chicken right there. I'll do green stuff. Chris F&M stuff. I love the stuff that he does. So here we have the hound and his chicken. There we go. As always, guys, and thank you very much, Chris, for sending this in. Lovely model. Lovely little addition to the base as well. The chicken. Love the whole piece together as a whole. Carlo's not here, but I can say, with a level of certainty, that's a big fat 0. Fat 0. Done, Chris. Someone's gonna die for some. Yep. Love it. Love the face. Love the effect on the armor. Love the inclusion of the chicken there as well, for theme. Painted well. And the base, of course, lovely as well. But all right, there we go. Sandor Clegane and a big 0 for Chris. Well done. Love it. That moves us on to, and we will do the commander last. I did say we'll do the commander last. We will move on to Rorge. We'll do Rorge next. Now, Rorge, I don't know how you pronounce it, guys. I apologise. I would say Rorge. A lot of other people have said slightly different versions of it. He has rules, I guess. He has Insight and Elusive Escape. Insight, not a particularly popular ability. It's not a bad ability by any stretch, but it's not like setting the world on fire. No one really cares. And Elusive Escape on a neutral attachment is interesting. If he just had Elusive Escape for 1 point, then I would be interested in this attachment. But he brings both Insight and Elusive Escape for 2 points, and unfortunately for 2 points, this is a difficult sell. There is very few units you'd want to use Rorge with natively, especially at 2 points. 2 point attachment. As Carlo would say if he were here, Carlo would immediately say 2 point attachment, basically unplayable. And he's not wrong. 2 point attachment with two abilities you don't care that much about. I can see maybe Martel getting some value out of this. They don't have native Vicious easily. And they have things that maybe want to retreat. I can see this maybe seeing some fringe play in some Sandskirms. But like Spearlord in Sandskirms is a common combo, and I don't see Rorge Sandskirms being like, oh my god, for an extra point. Maybe. Like, I'm stretching here. I'm stretching. I don't think Rorge is going to see much play. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to see much play in neutrals either, because neutrals can't really leverage the Elusive Escape that much either. Insight's not too bad with neutrals, but like, no. Probably not. See him play. Sadness. And Rorge, 2 points. If you buy him, if you take him along, if you put him in a list, you unlock Biter. Which is probably the saddest thing I've ever said to anybody. Because not only is Rorge 2 points, Biter is 1 point. Right? Biter requires Rorge in your list. He does not ignore attachment limits, so you can't put him in the same unit as Rorge. And he's a 1 point attachment in and of himself. And he brings Gang Up. If you thought Rorge wasn't going to see play, Biter might have seen play with 1 point Gang Up. Biter is not going to see play competitively at all, with Rorge being 2 points and a gatekeep for Biter to even exist in the list. Like you are never going to take Rorge just to unlock Biter. It is not a 3 point tax to get Insight, Elusive Escape, and Gang Up on 2 different units. Like, no one is doing this competitively. Please, no. No. I'll say that again just so everyone knows. No. No. If this is in Free Folk, like, this would be a consideration of abilities. It's disappointing because, like, Biter is just a raid leader. Like, he really is just a raid leader. But you're having to pay 3 points to get that. Like, that's insane. It's not happening. I actually think Gang Up even on Biter is like not even that thematic. It would have made way more sense for him to have like Insight or you know, maybe his Intimidating Presence. You know, I don't know, but like Biter having Gang Up just seems weird. And Rorge having Insight. Like Rorge should have the scary thing because sorry, Biter should have the scary thing because the whole point of Biter is he's mad and he's just vicious and it just yeah. Oh well. If you need something to unlock something else, it should have value. A little bit Evil Sponge, I agree. Yeah. Ramsey has made many people sad. True, Ramsey's decent for 2 points. Like he's actually like he comes with Theon for free, right? Like that's actually the reason that Ramsey's actually good, is that Theon putting out tokens is decent for 0 points. When Theon was 1 point, Ramsey was like super fringe playable. But that's Biter. Biter and Rorge, they are in a sad state. I cannot see Biter making a competitive list. I cannot see Rorge making a competitive list. Obviously, if you're running thematic lists, if you're running, some on like kitchen table type games, you're on themed stuff, you're on stuff that's fun to play, stuff with some cool ideas that you're building around. Like, I can see these making those types of lists because they're characters you want to include in lists, right? Biter and Rorge these are iconic characters from the books that you want to put in like Lannister lists. I can't see them making the table in competitive play. That's not to say you shouldn't play them at all if you want to. Yeah, if Biter was free and ignore attachment limits, even if it was just for Rorge's unit, ignored attachment limits, 2 points to unlock him would become a lot more interesting. I agree, Data. Agree completely. But, I guess Simon, to be fair to them, Simon probably want to, probably verge on the side of caution by not doing that, because that obviously can create issues if it is strong. But I agree, this time they're way off the mark. Fortunately. Not competitively, anyway. Alright. Next up. We'll do Jokin attachment and the Widower attachment. So you all know, Jokin is the commander in the box. Okay. However, Jokin, his commander version and an attachment version. What I'm literally calling Jaqen C as Jaqen Commander and Jaqen A as in Jaqen Attachment. Jaqen A unlocks Widower. Jaqen C unlocks Widower. So the Widower is playable with both Jokins, sorry. But Jokin Commander unlocks one version of the Widower, subtitled Stormcrow Captain, and Jokin Attachment unlocks the Widower Second in Command, subtitled. So you've got to think of Jokin, it's literally two pathways. Are you taking Jokin? Yes, A or C. C unlocks this, A unlocks this. And there is no intellect. You can't take this version of Widower with this version of Jokin. That's just not how it works. Alright? So, now that I've explained all of that, so that everyone is on the same wavelength, hopefully. Right. Sam says, I feel like it's nice to see that the new hero box isn't as powerful at first. Only because GCS are seen relatively everywhere now. So I guess this box is fun enough. Oh, Sam. You wait, Sam. You wait. You wait, Sam. If you've not seen what else is in this box, Sam. Oh boy. Oh boy. We'll get there. So, let's talk about Jokin attachment and, by extension, Widower attachment. Jokin attachment comes in at 2 points. Okay? So just bear that in mind. However, he brings two abilities. The Widower's Protector and Acute Precision. Acute Precision adding to melee attacks and range attacks precision. Seems like to be the key word of the patch. He just gives precision to any unit you want with any attacks they make. He also brings Widow's Protector. If you don't know Widow's Protector or the Protector rule is what Brienne the Blue has for Renly. He has Renly's Protector. Here we see Jokin with Widow's Protector. So if the Widower's unit gets attacked in any way, shape, or form, then Jokin's unit can perform an attack or charge on the attacker. Take Jokin for 2 points. It is expensive for Widow's Protection. I don't necessarily think you are taking Jokin for 2 points most of the time for these two abilities, really. Like, Brienne for 1 point, it's dubious whether or not you take that for 1 point in Renly lists. Most of the time you try to. Jokin is 2. However, this is where the deal gets sweeter, and this is where there is something to discuss. The Widower comes in. The Widower attachment. This is Jokin Archer Captain with Widower, second in command, who comes in at 0 points. Right? So, this is much more similar to what we talk about with Ramsey. And at 0 points, he brings Jokin's Protector and base Sundering on melee attacks. Now, 2 points to give each 2 units to protect each other, giving one of them precision on both melee and ranged, and one of them Sundering on melee. I don't think this is that powerful, right? I do not think this is competitively powerful. However, I actually quite like the design in some ways. Like, they're not bringing a lot. Just one keyword is not bringing a lot. Sundering or precision really isn't much to give a unit. But the Protector mechanic, where it doesn't, like, the whole point of, like, the Protector mechanic was, like, you just kill Brienne first, and she never uses the Renly ability because she can't ever use it. This is like, well, you can't just kill the other one first because the other one still gets the benefit. So I like the fact that it has 2 units here that can kind of work off each other. I can see this potentially talk about other things in the future. With some commanders, giving 2 units this kind of synergistic protection, I could see this maybe seeing play. Like, I don't think it's that strong, but I do think that this combat, these combo of units, both having Protector with these extra keywords, could see play. Like Jokin with Bottom Bastard Girls in neutrals, and say the Widower with new GCS that obviously don't have Sundering anymore, where you can be like, right, well, who are you going to attack? Because if you attack the BBGs, my GCS are going to come in and get like a flank charge. And if you shoot my GCS, then my BBGs are going to potentially shift and shoot, or whatever. There's a lot to be said about some combos you can do with this, and some potentially pretty good stuff. I don't think this is setting the world on fire. I don't think this is competitively super top notch. But I think this is interesting. I think there's something you could do with this to create interesting problems for your opponent to solve. And for that reason, I quite like these attachments, because I like presenting my opponent with problems. I like problems being presented to me in list building. I think this could be something that people could explore. So if anyone finds some interesting stuff with this that they think works in a competitive list, do let me know, because I do think this is an interesting thing to really explore the ground of. It is, just looking at chat, it is odd to think that this combo of attachments is in the same box of Gorge and Biter. Like, Gorge and Biter at 2 and 1 is like just nowhere near as good as a 2 and 0 combination of Widower Jokin, really. Even though the abilities in theory on Gorge are better, but like, yeah. Are we going to discuss the Higher Hermitage Sentinel today, Abiscus? Yes, we are. Yeah. We are definitely going to tackle that. Right, let's do the next one. We've got a few ones left. We've done Jokin and the Widower attachments. We've done Shay, Biter, and Rouge. We have Commander. And we have Arya Stark. This is where the box... So far, we can talk about the power level of the box. We can talk about the quality of the stuff. But generally speaking, so far the box has been fine, interesting, whatever. This is where the box starts to get a little bit... What the hell's going on? So we'll look at Arya next. Arya comes with an ability, Names on the List. Before diving into this, Arya is 1 point. Arya has, each time a friendly unit in long range loses a rank, place 1 order token on this card. If you lose a rank, get an order token. There is no limit to the number of order tokens on this card. Each time this unit performs a melee attack before rolling the attack dice, you may remove an order from the card. If you did remove an order from the card, after the attack is complete, destroy one attachment from the defender. She's a free attachment. Well, not free, but she kills attachments. Now, problem with this is like expert duelist, but at least it's after the attack, right? So you can't expert duelist out like a hardened attachment to then have no effect on the attack. This is going to happen after all of that's resolved. The problem here is it still kills like after attack. After unit has been attacked, stuff is still killed. So something like a Kevin would if you kill Kevin, it would kill Lannister Supremacy, for example, and you'd be able to prevent that triggering, or at least prevent it resolving. Actually, the problem at the moment, and some people in chat have kind of mentioned it, is this hasn't been carefully QA'd, or at least not in theory hasn't been QA'd, is the best way to explain it. Because this is not limited to infantry. This is destroy one attachment from the defender. So this can actually kill cavalry attachments. Now the problem we have is that we've never had anything in the game that kills cavalry attachments. Ever. So either this is genuinely that good, it just kills attachments in cavalry, and it does that, or this is an oversight. Can you kill Drogo with this, says Rossi? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. As it is written right now, you can kill Drogo with it. So we are expecting, Hibiscus says there has been some reliable sources saying it's going to get FAQ'd. Yeah, it's likely this is going to be FAQ'd. I think Jim Ludwig, Dark Sword, even posted that it's going to get FAQ'd, and he already knew that this shouldn't have been released like this. I don't know. More on that in a minute. But the point is that this is ridiculous. The reason I say it's ridiculous is we actually don't know how destroying cavalry attachments interacts with like cavalry. Do you just remove, just like infantry, do you just remove the model and therefore remove 3 wounds? Because if you just do 3 wounds to cavalry with this ability, it makes playing cavalry attachments, if you can't play your cavalry attachments anymore, because at one point you can just get quite heavily countered. Now, I don't necessarily think it's a massive concern for cavalry attachments. I actually think it's a bit overrated how strong this is. But it is obviously a very strong ability, and it is something that needs to be looked at and confirmed. And if it is confirmed, they need to explain how the interaction with cavalry attachments is. Or, of course, they FAQ it, and it can't kill cavalry attachments. Errata, I should say. We'll see. We will find out. This is, a lot of people are kind of going a little bit mental over this. I'm not that like, oh my god, because at the end of the day, just don't charge the infantry with Aria and you're fine. Basically, it's long and short of it. But yeah, this is going to be very strong if it just immediately does 3 wounds to cavalry. The likes of Drogo, lists and things like that, you've got to be very careful. Drogo does 2+ for free, doesn't he? He does, but he's also your commander. Right, so it's not 2 points for free if you take him as your commander. You can take him as not your commander, but then he's 2 points. So, like, you're paying 2 points for something that does 2 wounds, not 1 point for something that can do 3, and attachments to that. So you're removing rules from the enemy, not just doing 2. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not like, oh my god, this is OP. I am a little bit kind of like, this isn't good. Like, I can see this being unpleasant for people to play into. It's a lot of feels bad. for people running cavalry attachments. But I think in the end of the day, I don't think this is like super OP broken. It just needs the way it needs either to be FAQ to be infantry only, or it has to have its limits defined. Is infantry only, or how it works with cavalry if they keep it like that. You can shut it off if you want. It is bad rules, evil. Yeah, it's just not very well written, not very well thought about, and like it's what's annoying actually about this is it's quite clear when you read it that this hasn't been checked. Like, it does counter relentless. Yes, it would technically counter relentless Ilya. Yeah. It does feel weird that they'd release this after the complaints of Expert Duelist. I agree. It feels a very odd change. That basically just kind of like, I can't say better Expert Duelist, but like less random Expert Duelist type of interaction going on. And they've added it back in the game after removing the old one or scaling down back the old one. Yeah, it seems odd. I don't know. I don't really know what they were going for with this, apart from like the whole point of Arya being like fugitive princess at this point they call her, but like, you know, this is when she's turning faceless man or whatever. Vargo is not particularly top tier, yeah, and Vargo does similar kind of thing. Vargo's again slightly limited. Yeah, Arya, she's gonna be fine. Also, Vargo doesn't kill cavalry, but whatever. She'll get on Rata, and then we'll see what happens. I can't imagine her being over the strong low. I can see her being a bit of a tech piece pickup. Right then. So that's the first controversial one. Now we're actually going to move into. I don't even know how to word this properly. Jokin and Widower Commander, or Jokin Commander with Widower attachment. So Jokin is a commander. Let's tackle him. And if you haven't seen Jokin at all, hold on to your horses. So he comes in as a commander for free, of course, bringing Overwatch. That's all he brings in terms of his attachment. His commander attachment only brings Overwatch. Nice and straightforward, nice and simple. No changes here on Overwatch to anything else. Very straightforward. Jokin Commander unlocks the Widower Stormcrow Commander. The Widower Stormcrow Commander, or Stormcrow Captain, I should say, comes with Jokin's Vassal. So he counts as Jokin for all abilities and effects. Notice he doesn't count as your commander, so you can't double down with the commander cards from neutrals to make it so that you're within short range of your commander with this unit and Jokin. I know we talk about that a lot, but it wouldn't. If you're within short range of Jokin, he is your commander, so therefore your cards that say like worth the reward, right, or worth the risk, where it says you automatically pass the test if you're in short range of your commander's unit. That would be if you're in short range of Jokin, not short range of the Widower. Even though you can treat his name as Jokin, because it's not his. Bear that in mind. But it does work with Jokin's cards, which we'll get to in a minute. So Jokin's Vassal. He also brings Hold the Line. Cool. And he brings Sundering on Melee. Cool. He costs 0 points. So, yes, while Jokin only brings Overwatch, the Widower brings Hold the Line and Sundering and counts as Jokin for 0 points. For those of you who've never run Vassal before, Newt, Victarian's Vassal, costs 1. Adam Marbrand, Jamie's Vassal, costs 2, I think. 2 or 1? Oh, it's bad that I don't know that, isn't it? Fairly sure he counts as 2. He costs 2. Yeah, he does. Trusted Bannerman. Satin for Night's Watch, who only counts commander, no other rules, costs 1. Harmer's Bannerman in with Harmer attachment, costs, or Karma Commander costs 1. I'm trying to think. Dale Seaworth for Davos costs 1. A lot of these kind of vassal abilities cost 1 point or 2 points and come with a variety of different effects of ability. The fact that the Widower costs 0 and brings base Sundering is like great. He also brings Hold the Line, which is widely considered to be a 1 point ability, with Guard Captains and Baratheon Wardens both bringing that for 1 point in Lannister and Baratheon respectively. Yeah, just crazy. So yeah, Viscius Vargo's 2 points. Offer you 0 points. Don't know. Right? Seems pretty good if you put it in Golden Compass Swordsman. Yes, later. Z Drive. Someone new here clearly. What is this? A new card game? No, this is a Song of Ice and Fire, the miniatures game. If you've never heard it, it's a deck. Well, it's a miniatures war game with a bit of deck building and a little bit of like kind of like worker placement type stuff as well going on. Z Drive. It's really cool. Have a look at it. Sundering for free is good in a lot of things. Hold the Line is just gravy. Yet data, 100%. The Bolton one costs 1 as well, yeah. Steel Shanks Bolton for Roos. Yeah, so I mean, this is this attachment is just like good for free when you run Jokin. Now, there is also the chance that you don't run Jokin. There is a chance. Say it was a very big chance. Jokin comes with, and I'm going to go through 2 commander cards, right? We'll go through 2 of his commander cards, and we'll assess him. So, he comes with a card called Stalwart Mercenaries. Nice and straightforward. When a friendly unit is performing a panic test, before rolling the dice, play this card, and you just get a base +2 to the roll. If you're in short range of Jokin, they automatically pass. Bearing in mind this is Jokin, not your commander. This means that if they're in short range of the Widower, they automatically pass. So this is like very equivalent, not the same, not the same at all. This is very equivalent to Worth the Reward or whatever, Worth the Risk, from the base neutral deck, right? The base neutral deck has Worth the Risk, which is a re-roll, auto pass, and if you pass, heal 2 after the buff it got. Jokin's is very similar to this. Stalwart Mercenaries, +2, not a reroll. Various different values of quality there, and then automatically pass. That's a good card, right? That is a good card. Not shaking my head at that. Thumbs up. Love it. His next card is a card you probably heard of, and you might be aware how it works. His next card is Diversion Tactics. Okay? Very straightforward. Again, apologies for the side on this, but after an enemy completes a melee attack, you target one other friendly in long range of the defender, and it performs a maneuver action. So this is literally word for word exactly the same as the Free Folk version of Diversion Tactics. Can be used with the opponent if your unit defender dies. It doesn't target the defender, targets the attacker and the other unit doing a move. Diversion Tactics, widely considered one of the most kind of like played around or one of the most important cards to play around in Free Folk. By far one of the base deck Free Folk kind of best cards. Certainly, it's definitely up there in terms of quality, and Diversion Tactics, a very popular card in some of the other factions. I believe that Theon has it, and Theon's been doing quite well in Greyjoys of late, certainly since the Greyjoy buffs. Yeah, Diversion Tactics is a good card, right? It's a good card. Jokin gets it with neutrals, great, love to see it. Thumbs up. Diversion Tactics, great. So, that's Stalwart Mercenaries, auto-passing panic or a panic buff, love it. Diversion Tactics, a free move in neutrals, or your neutral commander. Bearing in mind neutrals base don't have much free stuff like that. Neutral commander here, works for any faction. Love it. This is just a good card. So, we have Jokin for 0, bringing Overwatch. We have the Widower, bringing Sundering and Hold the Line and pretending to be Jokin for 0. Say that again. For 0. Stalwart Mercenaries and Diversion Tactics as 2 of his 3 commander cards. He is already, in my opinion, in contention for being the best commander in many factions. Like, many factions would consider Jokin a good commander to pick up if we just look at that. Yeah? I would give this commander, as we have seen so far, probably 8 out of 10. He's probably not better than the best attachments or the best commanders in some factions, but he's pretty good, and he's definitely like a 3rd or 4th pick commander in many factions, at the lowest I'd have thought. There we go. So, Jokin, really great commander. And we'll move on. Except we can't move on, because I haven't told you about the last commander card. And yes, let's look at the last commander card. The last commander card... Brothers in Arms. I don't have words for this. Sorry. Brothers in Arms. Start with friendly turn trigger. Attach this card to a friendly combat unit until the end of the game, or until they fail a panic test. Glad you got those helpful panic passing cards. While attached, each time this unit attacks, not melee, not ranged, any attack, it rolls +1 dice for each other friendly unit in short range. If they're in short range of Jokin's unit, so by extension also the Widower, they gain 1 additional. Now, it's worth noting you don't get an additional dice for being in short both. You only need the condition to be fulfilled to get +1. So this is just like +1 attack dice for a unit, for Jokin's unit, +1 attack dice for the Widower, or, +2 attack dice in the short range of another unit as well. Or +3 attack dice in short range of 2 units. Or, as people have been prophesizing, +6 or +7, +8 attack dice. It gets a bigger problem. There is no limit to who you attach this to. It just goes on any friendly combat unit. So, this is where, if you haven't heard, I know a lot of people in chat already have, this is a card that immediately people were like, well, can't you put this on Night's Watch Scorpions? You can. You can put this on Night's Watch Scorpions. And not only can you put this on Night's Watch Scorpions, but of course it benefits from this on all of the attacks it makes. So you could, in theory, turn 1, play Brothers in Arms on your Scorpion, and just take a random pop shot off the swords, potentially rolling a Scorpion attack, hitting on 6s across the board, but with something like 7 dice. If you hit 6 dice with a Scorpion, Scorpions do 2 wounds for hitting cavalry, remember? If you have a Scorpion on 6 dice, or 7 dice, if a cavalry unit ever goes within 12 inches of that Scorpion, it is probably just dead. Like, if the Scorpion is allowed to shoot a cavalry unit within 12 inches where it's got line of sight, it's hitting on 3+, right? If a Scorpion is allowed to hit on 3+ with this card attached, rolling something like 7 or 8 dice, genuinely, Scorpion will just one-shot cavalry. And there's nothing you can do about it. Except not be within 12. The reason I say nothing you can do about it, remember you can't weaken a Scorpion, and you can't block auto wound. Okay, not a big deal, right? It's not that big a deal. Scorpions getting to like 6 or 7 or 8 attack dice isn't going to be that common. But like, that is a game problem. That is a game design problem because you can't give Scorpions already fairly invalidate competitive players taking low wound solos, the likes of Gregor's. Gregor doesn't make the competitive list against Scorpions anymore, right? Gregor Mountain the Rides. Because people are afraid of that, Varamir, in my opinion, doesn't make the list in competitive free folk lists against Night's Watch anymore. It's different with something like a Scorpion because the odds of dying are a lot lower, just off the bat, like automatically. But like, it's still not good odds, and I still don't think the chariot. I think the chariot is my weakest point on my list when I run it. But my point still stands of like there is an option there. Yeah, this is ridiculous. When we combine that, that's like not even the best combo. You can give this to anything in the game, right? You could prophesizing here, but it's an attached card, right? So again, looking at Night's Watch, you give this as John's unit. Ghost gets the benefit as well because it's an attached card. It falls off because you fail a panic test. Your NCU can get this from your discard pile and just attach it to a unit again because it's an attached card, and Paul doesn't care about Night's Watch attached card. He cares about attached card. I'm sure there are other synergies in other factions as well, but those are the ones that stood out immediately. Now, there's still obviously all of these things. So you're taking John attachment, not John commander. You know that comes with a set of issues, and yeah, it's like whatever. Um, but yeah, this is a very good card because you can kind of see this like in a completely isolated bubble. Like you should nearly always play with your units within short range of each, ideally, or certainly within long. But within short range because generally speaking, at least in my opinion, you can't run isolated units alone. Not unless you know you're going to win one-on-one matchups with regular ease. You still want to be supporting your other units, so staying within 6 inches is a good way of doing so. And you've got a lot of benefits for that, like auto-passing panic tests, for example, among other things. So, like, staying within short range of a friend is important on your big unit. Or, you know, staying within 6 inches of other smaller units. You know, the idea of a hunter being flanked by like Cold Hands and Ghost, for example, in a classic John list. You know, that's very reasonable. Vanguard having a Ghost or a Cold Hands nearby as well. Yeah, you know, that's a John 8 list. You can't run the John 8 with this anyway, but like this is just generally good rules of thumb is to have things ideally within support range of one another. So at like the average use case, if you're using this on your, bear in mind you're going to be using this on Jokin and Widower attachment units most likely, unit with Overwatch or unit with Hold the Line. You can run this, and even if it gives you +2 dice, because you're running it on Jokin, it gets +1 for being Jokin, and probably +1 for another unit in range. That's just a straight +2 attack dice until you fail a panic test. Just a +2 attack dice. You have Overwatch. Pretty happy days. You've got your GCS potentially instead of your crossbowman. You've got GCS with Hold the Line and Base Thunder again. Yeah, I'll take +2 attack dice. But I don't have to even trigger because different trigger timing. So when I attack and I get rerolls, Sundering, and 10 attack dice on max ranks, plus another 2. Yeah, I'll roll 12 dice with Sundering rerolls on 3s. Okay. Um, I think the kind of furor about this card is not as big as people make out to be. I don't think this is going to completely and utterly break the game. But like it has broken some core principles. They made the game less killy, and this is a card that directly contravenes that. This is a more killy card. So this is not in scope of the design of the game that they seem to make out with 2021. You have to force panic tests through on this unit to remove it. That's a feasible possibility. It's not just attached there for the rest of the game. But there are ways, you have means in a lot of decks or with some factions to mitigate that. So we're going to see this picked up in factions that mitigate that even further, and really push that. And then it has kind of silly combo things where, someone prophesizing with Greyjoys, because there's no cap, right? Greyjoys, you have one unit of Greyjoy Bowmen who will probably fail their panic test. Let's put it like that. One unit of Greyjoy Bowmen surrounded by like 5 drowned men or something stupid like that, and it's there you go, an extra 6 attack dice. Thank you very much. This is 12 dice attack from range. Like, I thought this is what they wanted to get rid of in the game with off. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is bad, and Abiscus also points out, or the chief, sorry, points out, compared to Asher's Raider Bravery, yeah, Raider Bravery from Asher is like +1 attack dice for each missing rank, right? And if you're at max ranks, it's +1 attack dice or something. Remind ourselves, where is it? While attached, when this unit attacks, if it has 4 ranks, it's +1. Otherwise, it's treated as having just an extra rank. Okay, so it's like +1 or +2 dice, generally speaking, because most things don't drop off more than dice on each attack rank. So yeah, Raider Bravery is like +1 or +2 dice. Whereas this is just going to be most of the time a flat +2, like bare minimum nearly, with the possibility of being like +4, +5. Raider Bravery is just bonus and courage, yeah. So yeah, this is obviously a problem because of the Scorpion. The Scorpion mechanic is just stupid in that that in itself just breaks the game. Because it means running cavalry into Night's Watch becomes an almost impossibility. So yeah, you can't really say that this is a good thing for the game in that sense. So we can expect this probably to be errated, to not be able to attach to war machines. That is a straight up errata is like fine. That solves the worst offending case. The problem is that Jokin is like one of the best movement cards, one of the best aggressive cards, and also one of the kind of best defensive cards for morale. I could see Jokin with the Widower coming at free as well. He's going to be the best commander in every faction. We already have the problem of Varys and GCS being in every list, and this is by far one of the best commanders in nearly every faction. And that's a problem. That is a real problem, homogenizing the game like that, because it removes the theme, it removes the competitive viability of the game. When I say competitive viability, is that you're not making the competitive game interesting for a lot of players, because I don't even think this, even if it's not the best in a competitive pairing, this is going to be a go-to that people pick, just like GCS with Varys. Is it necessarily the best? Is it winning events? Not necessarily. But is it something that people will go to and know it will perform well? Yes, they do know that. So they will do it. So yeah. Jokin Commander, 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10. He will probably be the best commander in every faction if he releases like this. Sucks. Really sucks. Yeah. Oh well. It's frustrating. It's frustrating that we see Brothers in Arms not come up with a clear, like, don't attach to Scorpions, right? Or War Machine. It's annoying that we saw, where is she? Arya come without the cavalry speculation on this. It's annoying that we saw Sandor come with an old version of Threaten. Now, Threaten at least was a Season 3 change. But a lot of this other stuff, like, I feel like it's just bad QA. And you know, I'm not afraid to bash Simon here. We're not afraid to do that when we need to. But like, this is just not very good quality assurance or quality checking. And this doesn't include the fact that if you read some of the abilities, I believe some of the abilities have actually got missing words and things like that in. If you actually read them, they're really poorly written. And it sounds like they've been translated. Like that's how bad the grammar is. I can't think of where someone did point one out the other day, but yeah, it's bad quality assurance and it's bad testing. Yeah. So yeah, there's also rumors that this stuff is supposedly have been tested like a year ago, right? So there's rumors that people had seen elements of this over a year ago, which I want to bring up like the production cycle, and I'm aware that I don't know the exactitudes of the production cycle that Simon have, but like it worries me that they could be like it's taking them a year to produce like test something, get it ready for testing, test it, finalize the content, prepare it for production, and get that sent off for production, and it's like a year before before it actually reaches like the client, if you will. Um, because if that's the case, that is a long production time. Like that is a long production time. Like this left Steam on hands a year ago, or even if this left Steam on hands like 9 months ago, that is a long production time, right? Um, for one box is my point. Like this is one box. This isn't lots of boxes. This is one box. And I'm aware of production times. Like 6 months is not like an unreasonable production like time limit. Like I'm not expecting these things to be produced out in a week. God no, unrealistic. But like 6 months should be enough time to have tested this, send it off to production 6 months ago, and for it to be through production and at here at this point. Bearing in mind, you can actually book like people forget this, but you can like book production runs of this stuff before it's finalized. You don't have to have a final product ready for production before you book production slots in for these kind of things at factories. And yeah, game terms. Evan's right, of course. Huge issue with constantly failing to use game terms. Yep. They're imprecise with their wording. Zeodicus, are they trying to kill the game? This box looks like a good try to do that. I hate it so much. I don't think they are, Zeodicus. I genuinely don't think that they realise just how strong some of these things are. I've said this to you before. I've said this to people here before. I think that they don't realise like the balance of the game and the way that certain things work in the way that competitive players, right? That's not to say they don't give it a good try and they don't have some information and they're completely useless at it. They've certainly gotten a lot better in the last year than they have previously. But there are always things slipping through the net, always things that they're not being picked up or perhaps are a problem. And we point them out because it's very obvious to us when things are going to be. We knew GCS were going to be an issue, and guess what? They were. We knew Varus going to 4 was probably going to be an issue, and it kind of was, right? What else did we think was actually going to be a problem? Tully Cavalier change, right? There was a change that we basically saw and was like, not sure. Could be better, could be worse. It all depends on the number of morale tests things have to take. And it was all about the number of morale tests something had to take. And then you make it so they're the only units you have, and go figure, you stack the morale stacking on it. Yeah. I don't know. Just it is what it is, right? It is what it is. I'm not trying not to whine and sound like I'm complaining, because actually, like in the end of the day, there are things here that just. It's not that the game breaks when they release stuff. It's just that their rhetoric around why they make the changes is bad. Like when they talk, this is actually one thing I will say about Simon. when they talk, it makes them sound like they don't understand the game, which is bad. Like, see their articles and you're like, what? That's just not true, or that just doesn't make sense. But hey, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and rail on that much. But like, yeah, there we go. Neutral Hero Box 3 is potentially just going to come along and homogenize the game again. We'll see. Um, there's some stuff in there that's super meh and like borderline just rubbishly garbage unplayable. But like that's fine. It's fine to release stuff that's like meh because like you can't release everything. Not everything can be above the curve or like on the curve, right? It'd be lovely if it was, but there's going to be things below the curve and that's fine. Um, as long as the stuff that is released is like on curve, is like that's okay. You've got some like stuff that's potentially on curve here with the 2-point Jokin and 0-point Widower combo. Like I think that's probably on curve. I think there's something interesting you could do with that. That maybe sees play. I think Arya might actually be on curve at one point with the changes. Like I don't think she's broken. But Jokin Widower are just like very obviously very strong for a commander option. So yeah, just above curve, very clearly, very obviously. Don't need to spend much time at all looking at Jokin and Widower to go, yeah, that's really good. So yeah. There we go. So I don't really want to talk about that box anymore because I don't think there's much more I can cover. I don't think there's much more I can say. There's combos with it. People will spot combos with things like Stormcrow Archers, Freedmen. Yeah. There's loads of different things that could be. But increasing the number of dice is not a particularly good idea. Like dice maths does change a lot of things. So yeah, the number of dice is getting crazy. I got to roll max ranks GCS with battle endurance around 6 a week and clearly still done. Yeah, I mean that's like that is insane. But yeah. Right, let's look at the High Hermitage Sentinel because this doesn't get enough love for what I think is a very interesting 1-point attachment. The High Hermitage Sentinel comes with the Darkstar Retinue box. Comes for 1 point with ambush and enhanced mobility. Now, enhanced mobility is genuinely one of my favorite abilities in the game. I'm a big fan. You know, people don't know the way I play. It's around this little thing called movement. And enhanced mobility giving +1 move and the pivot before the march is very strong in my opinion. I like enhanced mobility as a rule. I always look when I see enhanced mobility in a faction to see how I can build around a unit having that enhanced mobility and how I can leverage that within a list. Rob Commander, Rob Attachment, Harmer. I've used all of these things because I like enhanced mobility as a rule. I like mobility and movement because I know that this game is dominated heavily by movement, how you manipulate movement. So anything that is movement based, I like. Therefore, I look at the high that's a preface to me telling you. When I look at the High Hermitage Sentinel, I see enhanced mobility and I go, I want to try something with this. +1 move, pivot before march. Yeah, Theon Commander. Yeah. Now, my immediate thing here was like, how do I leverage this? What units would I want to use it in? Not sure. Right? I'm still not sure what unit wants to use this in, but let's probably face it, it's probably Sand Skirmishers. If it's Sand Skirmishers, what am I looking to use it in? Don't know yet. Do like the Spearlord combo, Sand Skirms with it, maybe pretty good. You haven't got Assault Orders on any commanders, so you can't even Assault Orders, can't get into a better position Assault Orders charge. But then I remember, you know, my immediate gut reaction, my immediate thing is to go, Martells have Cunning Ploy in the base deck. With Cunning Ploy in the base deck, that changes how enhanced mobility is going to be working for us significantly because you are automatically making something movement 7 with the High Hermitage Sentinel because most of your infantry is 6. Not all of it, but most of it. So you're making it 7 move, pivot before march. Don't ignore terrain negatives. Okay. right? It's not quite a Yiguru. You do have. This is just, I'm talking about stacking here, so I'm looking for all the potential combos. Don't think this next one is good. You do have Nymeria NCU, right? In case anyone forgets, Nymeria NCU. For Water Gardens, she brings +1 move. Interesting. You could make something move 8. Okay. With pivot before march, that's a 16-inch march in any direction. With Cunning Ploy, that's pretty good. Can you leverage that now? Not sure. Really not sure. However, immediately thinking like a little bit further aside, I'd love to be able to use that with Gerald Dane, right? Gerald Dane Darkstar with his free maneuver when no one's in long range. Hard to leverage because you can't be outside of long range or something. But then it got me thinking, could you do like activate Gerald, Cunning Ploy, move the other unit outside of 12 inches, because you can do that when you've got 14 inches in any direction. Move outside of 14 inches, something's flank, with the possibility of them then doing something. That unit's unactivated, and at the top of the turn, you actually use Gerald Dane's Lone Knight ability to get the 6-inch maneuver 2-inch shift shot into then a flank charge with the unit you just positioned with Cunning Ploy. Maybe. Maybe there's something there. Don't know. We're talking about a lot of things coming together. It's a lot of combo, but like that made me think. There's other options as well, right? There's other things we could do with other commanders, like Daemon to get that position, get a flank charge, come in, use the coordinated assault to pull something up. But like these are all things that just have base combos anyway. But being able to use this big march out of nowhere, because you don't have to go in a straight line, remember, you can go that way or that way. A big march to reposition and get a position that your opponent otherwise potentially wasn't thinking about, I do think is interesting. It's something I want to try out. I don't know if it's that good, but I think it might be pretty good if you can leverage it well. And if you can leverage it well, then I am interested. The only problem I see is that the combos aren't quite there with triggers or where you'd want. You'd love to have this with Darkstar. You'd love to have this with Ario Hota. Although he kind of gets it for Thorin. Yeah, there's things here. I like the look of the High Hermitage Sentinel. I don't know if it's good, but my gut reaction is to say for 1 point, I'm going to try and use this. We will see. We will see how good this may be. Increasing scum, fetch range to 15 inches also. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. So there we go. That's all the new releases, new reveals. Apologies. There's some pretty good stuff there. The Darkstar Retinue, I'm not sold on. We talked about those before. No, I'm not sold on them. They're me okay. But, yeah, all about BBG. Yeah, BBG. With this, you don't have a lying in wait type effect. Okay. Who'd you go for? Again, we're talking about in Martell. No, you can't. You can't do it in Martell. Not easily, anyway. You could go for something like this, right? I'm just going to use Jokin for now. Oh, no, I can't use Jokin as neutral. Let's go for sort of unused point attachments. Obviously, don't have any good 1-point generic attachments. I'll just use Spearman Captains for now. Right. So Spearman Captain in the BVG. And then you haven't got anything that really likes synergize off attacks. Maybe Daemon Sand. Actually, maybe a Daemon Sand. Ooh. Yeah, maybe a Daemon Sand list. With you want your Sand Skirms coming in. With your Spearlord. Go to then see run Ilaria because you run Ilaria. Let's run Varys because you run Varys. And we'll stick in Aris for now, but we might change that out. Daemon is going to be in our friendly neighborhoods guard, and that leaves 5 points. Martell Spearman. So you could do like like a combo with this maybe with Daemon Sand. It's obviously a very heavy infantry style base list. The coordinated plotting synergizing well with the Sand Skirms. The High Hermitage Center with the House Bottom Bastards. That's 14-inch move flank at the last activation of the round. But then Need for Vengeance at the top of the round. You can of course Need for Vengeance. Do the combo into someone's flank with the BBGs, and then coordinated plotting to get that free move with the Sand Skirms to move up even further. So you can really kind of wolf pack one unit on the flank, kind of out of nowhere. So maybe this is what you're going to set up, and you have like your standard heavy infantry is like your blob in the middle, these two on the flank, and your Martell Spearmen on the other side to just be there. I don't really know, not considering how that list would play out and how that would work. Something like that, right? Something like that might be really interesting, especially if you have an Aris to overhang around, so you can go second, give your opponent 2 uses of the tactics board next to each other because of the NCU from your Doran's start of round attack, and then their first activation, but Aris blocking the swords, so they can't even leverage a free attack off the board, denying things like potentially healing and other things like that from rising temperatures. Like there's a whole list of kind of combo type things going here that I quite like. Yeah, I dropped the Spearlord to get Outriders over Spears. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Outriders and Knights. I'd rather probably either or run the Knights instead of the Sandscum Spearlord, or run Outriders instead of the Spearmen, dropping the Spearlord for that extra point. Yeah, definitely Hibiscus. But I'm just trying to put some ideas together there. Potentially try out. But I quite like that idea anyway. This might be a type of list that I run because it's memey and all infantry lists are bad. So, but yeah, definitely something I'd look at anyway. But yeah, there we go. Ah, new boxes. Yeah, I think you always want skirms with Daemon. I tend to agree. Although I really do think Knights with Daemon are really under. Knights with the coordinated plotting to get the free retreat out of combat, I think is actually like insanely powerful. People don't use it. But yeah, there we go. I have seen Lee Parkin in chat. Lee Squig, as he knows in DMG. Squig did win the Leeds event, so congrats on that one, Lee, with Martell, I believe, of all things. All right, cool. We've got some new boxes coming out. We've got some new toys to play with. We've got some new list building that we can do. Certainly with Martell, a lot of people looking for combos inside other factions. With Jokin, we will see. Yeah, we will see how that looks in the near future. How that kind of game plan plays out. See what Jokin does to the game. These stuff was due to be released on the 1st of December, I believe, the 1st or the 4th. I can't remember the date. I expect to see it in the US on those dates. I think it's already kind of semi-release in the US. We will see if it hits UK stores at those times. It probably won't. Probably going to be delayed. So yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone tuning in. Let's run through some of the tournaments. I did say we'd stop by the German event as well. NSB winning with Targs, of course. Mentioned that at the start of the video. All streamed on the Tabletop Warden YouTube channel. Shout out to them again. Let's just have a quick look at the stats. I think the stats are interesting. I am potentially going to get Carlo to do a bit of a piece around like the stats of the big events this year, because now that most of them are wound up, I'd be interested to see his thoughts and really his statistical breakdown on a lot of the big events, most of which, but not all, most of which have run under Season 3. We'll see kind of what he kind of deems is in kind of interesting takeaways, if there's anything that he would read into it, and just give like a very statistical breakdown on it from his angle, because he's good at that, right? And that is what he's good at. It's why he's created this, and I don't want to get anything wrong. That's the other thing as well. I don't want to. I can do some analysis on it for myself, but he's better at it than I am, and I don't want to get things wrong and report a potentially biased view. I have done in the past. So yeah, we see Targs coming in at 61% overall, which Targs have had an interestingly decent showing at some of these events, decent win rates, which is good, for a faction that's not doing so well. Interestingly, Bolton's obviously at the bottom there, but Greyjoys didn't have a great tournament, neither Martells or Lannister, which is interesting. Lannister, of course, being one of the kind of like big dogs that people think about with Kevin, but just not really performing. Neutral's obviously there, but then Free Folk coming in at 53%, 60 games by large and above one of the most played factions, and Varamir by far and above with Drogo some of the most played commanders. Like Varamir and Drogo are just really popular. Good to see Harmonella making a bit more of a reappearance. Oh, didn't see Courtney at 21 and Kevin at 19. Fair enough. There's been a bit of a better spread at the top then. Mag at 20 as well. I apologise, I got that wrong straight away. I expected to see more Varamir picks, but Mag very popular. So yeah, go check out the results for yourself if you want to have a little through them. And congratulations to NS and anyone else doing well there. Larks did quite well as well as Tim for their team. Going one loss. Both Free Folk players going one loss. Both with a Varamir Steer combo, which is interesting. Varamir list, Steer list, different to what I've run in the past, different to what a lot of other people might run. So yeah, cool to see. A lot of Night's Watch make up the top of the 17 bracket, but then there's a bit of variation 17s as well. Brathians, yeah, cool. That was that. Fantastic. Right, let's actually have a look at the other tournaments then. So, what else do we got running coming up? Is there anything big coming up? I don't think there is now. We haven't got any big events coming up for a while. I think our next big event is going to be in the new year, where we've got things like the Flatlands or the Lowlands GT. That's run by the guys from Running White Scars. Netherlands. We've got the Welsh GT early next year. We have LVO in January. So those are like kind of like the next big lot of events, I think. So we're winding down obviously into December, where there are less big events. Let's have a look at what we've got coming up this week. We've got an event in Poznan in Poland for a 30-point event, I think, for the Salty Isles this weekend. No, this is Wednesday, sorry. We've got the La Tienda Scum in Barcelona, Spain, in a 16-man event there, and Games of Westeros in Sweden, their 16th event of this series, happening this weekend as well. An event in Katowice in Chorzów in Poland, and Rimble Rumble this weekend. We do not so the event put on by Brian. Brilliant event every year. It's a themed event, very fun. And Brian always puts on a great event. I've never been to Rimble Rumble. It's one of those events I've always wanted to go to, but it just doesn't fit well with my schedule. So yeah, like really, really cool event, really awesome thing. They play other games there as well, but Brian, the event every year, really promotes it. And yeah, looking like it's going to be a fantastic event again this year with some classics from the UK scene. I really hope that goes well for Brian and guys over there. It'll be epic. I'm sure it will be. Another event in Russia this weekend. One day in Russia. An event in Fritzlar in Germany. The overclocked event that I believe Lokabri's running. We've got a Song of Hazard and Ludic in Belgium this weekend as well as House Siege Invitational in Madrid, Spain. An event in Winter Throwdown in LA. Las Vegas? No, not Las Vegas. In LA. Louisiana? LA? LA? Or does it mean LA? No, yeah. New Orleans, Louisiana. Yeah, cool. This weekend as well. We've got an event in La Réunion. Yep, Santa Claus Combat. Love it. An event in Helsinki as well, in Finland. Winter is here. That'll probably be Timu and his bot playing. Yeah. Yeah, Timu with Johannes, Forest Pond. Yeah, the cool finish. I need to go to one of those finishes. Never had the opportunity yet to go to Finland, and I really want to go to Finland and meet up with Timu definitely and Forest obviously. An event happening in Zagreb in Croatia. That's interesting to see. Croatian event. We've not seen many Croatian events. Good to see a Croatian event come out of kind of nowhere. 6 players attending as well. I really hope that goes well. I would love to see a Croatian scene develop further, and we get like Croatian nationals and stuff on there as well. We've got Watchers on the Wall in the Ridings in Northampton and at King Gaming. Looking to have quite a small player base. If you are in the UK and around the Northampton area, want to go to an event on the Sunday this week, do check it out. There are still spaces for this, and if you buy tickets and stuff this week, then I think they'll be pretty happy about that. So if you are looking at that, do take your friends along, essentially. Event in Saskatoon, Canada this weekend, as well as Mexico City in the Westeros Knights tournament in Mexico City. That's it for this week, actually. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 events happening this weekend from Croatia all the way to Finland, UK, to Spain, the US, Mexico, Canada. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for everyone joining us. It's been a good week. It's been a good 2 weeks for me. Just kind of chilling. Team events still going on online. Still playing in. Night's Watch taken back first place on the ladder again after a bit of up and down. Greyjoy's not far off their heels. Everyone else kind of languishing between 10 and 0 basically. Starks have a bit of a drop. Boltons are still terrible. But yeah. All right then, guys. Well, thank you very much for tuning in this week. Up to 70, 80 viewers there today, so it was great. Do, if you haven't already, hit subscribe down below, like the video, do all those things. You know the drill. I'm not a very good. I don't do this to make money. I do this because I enjoy it and because you enjoy it. I think. Well, some people watch it. I think that means that. But appreciate everyone tuning in. I will probably catch most of you. I might have an episode next week. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. I'll probably put something on. Might not be an full episode though. We'll have to see what I can get sorted. But yeah, probably next week. Let's say that there is going to be something. And if not, I will catch you the week after. And then yeah, well, we'll do something for Christmas, mate. Why don't we do something fun for Christmas, eh? What can we do? Well, if you've got any ideas, drop a message to me on Discord or in the NRG channel. Tag me or Carlo. We have got some stuff in the works. I know that patrons of stats as well as national winners from across the globe are aware of something happening. I'm not going to announce it publicly yet. but there is something going to be happening for players, which Carlo is organising. So he'll make an announcement of that when he wants publicly to everyone else. But some people probably already know what that is. But that's going to be super interesting. And there's a big build up for that. So there's going to be a big old hype train going for that for a long time, in the hopes of making potentially one of the best things you've ever seen. But we'll see how that kind of comes out. But yeah, thank you very much again for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Take it easy.
Ready? Aim! There's too many!
Anyone see my mammoth?
Stubby!